We've talked about what's difficult in the Song of Songs, so now we can go back to our second question. What's interesting? And I think there's a lot that's interesting. Mostly the incredibly detailed and specific representation of erotic desire. This man really is into this woman, and this woman is really into this man, and it's corporal. It's centered in the body. It's centered in the gaze, the male gaze of desire upon the beauty of the woman, and the woman's gaze, her delight in the looks, the strength, and the characteristics of the man. You can see this in Canticle 4. Now, lovely. I'm going to read a little bit so you can hear the language, but it's really quite surprising. We have at the top of Canticle 4, behold, you are beautiful, my love. You are beautiful. Behold, you are beautiful. There's a repetition with the very first line. And we know that to repeat is a way of amplifying the expression. It's one of the ways that poetic and narrative text create intensity. Again, look, look, look. Look at how beautiful you are. Your eyes are doves behind your veil. Your eyes are doves. Well, doves are a beautiful, curved, big figure. You have round, beautiful, natural eyes behind your veil. Your hair is like a flock of goats moving down the slopes of Gilead. Goats? You have goat hair? Well, to us, city dwellers that we are, that seems like a really weird thing to say about a woman's hair. But if you're a shepherd living in the Levant, that region that we now, Syria, Palestine, Israel, if you're a shepherd and you're watching sheep and goats all day, well, if you looked up to Mount Gilead, what would you see? A flock of goats running down the mountain in curves, in swoops. The goats are where you measure your wealth. Your wealth is measured in how many goats you have. And to see many of them flowing down the hillside is to see both wealth and curves and lusciousness. Your hair is curvy. Your teeth are like a flock of shorn ewes, sheep, that have come up from the washing, all of which bear twins, and not one of them is bereaved. Your teeth are like sheep. Well, sheep that have been washed are what? They're bright white. And each one of them, two of them come up like twins, and not one of them is missing. So you have white teeth, they're perfectly matched, and there's not a single one missing. You ain't no gap-toothed old hag. You have a beautiful smile. You have beautiful eyes. You have beautiful curly hair. You have beautiful white teeth. Your lips are like scarlet thread. Your mouth is lovely. Your cheeks are like halves of a pomegranate. Pomegranates are rich red fruit behind your veil. You have rosy cheeks. Your neck is like the Tower of David, built for an arsenal, whereon hang 1,000 bucklers, all of them shields of warriors. You have a long neck, and just like the shields, the warrior shields adorn the Tower of David, you have a long neck that's adorned with beautiful copper and gold jewelry. And it's kingly, it's stately. David was a king. His tower was the grandest. So is the beauty of my beloved's long adorned neck. Your two breasts are like two fawns, twins of a gazelle that feed among the lilies. Huh? You have fawn breasts? Well, if you were to look at two fawns that were feeding among the lilies, here's some lilies, and here's one fawn, and there's the head, and here's another fawn, and And there's the head. And if you have two twin fawns feeding among the listening, what do you have? You have two beautiful brown, curvy, round breasts. You've got a beautiful, smooth, lovely chest. Until the day breathes and until the day breathes and the shadows flee, I will hie me to the mountain of myrrh and the hill of frankincense. You are all fair, my love. There is no flaw in you. Until the day breathes and the shadows flee, all night long, I will hie thee to the mountain of myrrh and the hill of frankincense. Now, what could that possibly mean? A mountain and a hill. Well, if you think about it, this dude is going step by step by step down the vertical line of this beautiful woman's body. Your eyes, your hair, your smile, your lips, your cheeks, your neck, your fawn. All night long I will hie thee to the mountain of myrrh. We know myrrh is sweet smelling perfume, that hall of frankincense. I will go down there. And this is symbolic language for that mountain, the mounds of sweet smelling fragrance, of perfume, the smell of sex perhaps. That's symbolic language, but it certainly is suggested by the verticality step by step by step by step of these body parts. So, wowie, wowie, wowie. You are all beautiful, my love. All beautiful. Every single part. The parts that are exposed and the parts that I have to get down to in the middle of the evening when we're alone and we can be erotically intimate and close. So, this is Randy stuff. It's beautiful, it's very sexy, it's not crass or vulgar, and it's not explicit. Well, breasts, I guess, is explicit, but immediately they're turned into a symbolic language, like two fawns in the dawn. So that's the guys' part. The women, I just want to point out, they have their way too. They are just as into the women. This woman is just as interested in this hottie of a man as he is in the hottie of this woman. So if you go up to Canticle 5, for example, there's this other strange, again, complicated language that what's going on, we get to be curious about. How can we figure this out? How can we move through all the layers of historical distance, of agrarian distance, we silly city dwellers, to understand the small towns and villages of 560 or 660 BCE. So here's what the woman says, what the beloved woman says back to the man. I slept, this is 5 starting on verse 2 if you want to look it up. I slept, but my heart was awake. Huh? How can you sleep with an awake heart? Hark, my beloved is knocking. I'm asleep, but I hear knocking. So maybe to be asleep with an awake heart is to be dreaming, perhaps. Let's see what goes happen. I slept, but my heart was awake. Hark, my beloved is knocking. And what does he say? Knock, knock. Open to me, my sister, my love, my dove, my perfect one, for my head is wet with dew, my locks with the drops of the night. She's hearing this hottie with wet curly hair dripping from running over. Knock, knock. Open, open, open up. Let me in, let me in. She responds, but I had put off my garment. How could I put it back on? She's in bed asleep naked. I had bathed my feet. How could I soil them? My feet are naked. My body's naked. I'm already in bed. How could I get up and answer the door? My beloved, this hottie with the curly hair, all fresh with dew. My beloved put his hand to the latch, and my heart was thrilled beneath me. I arose to open to my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers with liquid myrrh upon the handles of the bolt. I opened to my beloved, but my beloved had turned and gone. What on earth is going on? She's asleep. Oh, but I took off my garment. Oh, but my feet are naked and bathed. I heard the bolt, the guy. I heard my lover's voice. Knock, knock, knock. Open to me. Open to me. I went, I got up, and my hands were dripping with myrrh, with that sweet, fragrant smell, with that oil that we wash with to perfume ourselves, to ready ourselves for bed and for lovemaking. So what's dripping off of her fingers as she goes to the door? Well, very possibly she's not. This isn't happening in life. She's asleep. Her heart is hearing, is dreaming. She's dreaming. She's having an erotic dream about the hottie. She thinks she hears him at the door, and she gets up and her feet are wet. Her hands are wet because they're dripping with her own arousal. And he's gone. Of course he's gone. It's all in her head. It was a dream. This is an erotic dream. So, okay, the boys can extend their gaze of desire out to the body parts of the woman, but in the Song of Songs, the woman is just as capable of strong, physicalized, eroticized desire of a sex dream, so much that her body is responding with arousal, with the fluids, the secretions, the love, the white ass pussy. I mean, it's WAP of antiquity. I mean, if Cardi B can sing about it, we can still see it in the Song of Songs. Now, last thing I want to say about this interesting thing, he knocked at the door. He put his key in the door. Open to me, my love, open. So he stuck something in and I opened the door. Well, that's talking about a door and a key and a door, but what else thrusts in and opens up? When the shepherds and the shepherdesses were singing these songs to each other, I'm sure that the little boys and girls imagined doors. And I'm sure that the grandparents imagined and just listened to the beauty of the language. But all those randy 16, 17, 18-year-olds, all this talk about sticking keys in and opening doors, I think they're thinking about other things that get stuck in and other things that get open up. So that's a great example of keys and doors, opening things. This is a great example of phallic imagery. A key is not a penis, but it is a phallic image. And the Song of Songs uses a lot of these symbols to think about that. Earlier on, there's another one that is also, normally I wouldn't think about it, but the more I've read the Song of Songs and the more we've cataloged all this desire and all this physical eroticism, on Canticle 2, I am the rose of Sharon, as a lily among the breath, so is my love among maidens. And then the woman is talking about her beloved, and she says again, as an apple tree among the trees of the wood, so is my beloved among young men. All of the trees are there, but my guy, he's an apple tree. And what that means is that he is full of fruit, he is delicious and sweet. Apples were a source of sweetness in antiquity. They didn't really have sugar, so an apple and honey were signs of one of the only places that we had sweetness in the diet of antiquity. So he's not just any tree, he's an apple tree. He's luscious, he bears fruit, and he is the source of sweetness. With great delight, I sat in his shadow. I sat in the shadow of my man. I sat below him. With great delight, I sat in his shadow. and his fruit was sweet to my taste. He brought me to the banqueting house, and his banner over me was love. Sustain me with raisins, refresh me with apples, for I am sick with love. Oh, that his left hand were under my head, and that his right hand embraced me. She is sitting below this apple tree and his banner of love with great delight, tasting his fruit. Again, are they at a banquet house? Are they eating apples and raisins? Or is that banquet, is this banner a phallic symbol? Is she seated below him? Or what we're reading about the delight of a physical, erotic encounter, of oral sex, rather than a slightly delayed image of feasting. But feasting, what a good image for sexual intimacy. When we are in love, we feast on that person's body. Every part of them is beautiful. You see them. You feel this way when babies are born too. You know, the little baby comes out. You count 5 fingers and you count 10 toes, and you go, "Oh my God, he's so cute! I just want to eat him up with a spoon." And you do. You want to kiss their elbows and their little knees, and every single part of that newborn baby is just delicious to you. In this capacity that we have for physicalized delight in this fabulous being. And so that kind of delight between two people who are the right ones for each other, who are the perfect match, that delight, that first blush of romance, when it's true love, can be this visceral, this physical, this full-bodied and delicious. So I think that's pretty interesting, that we have found in the scriptures of Judaism and Christianity this book that has been saved. This encyclopedic scriptures, which were meant by these religious communities to tell us everything that we need to know about what a good life is, what justice is, how we are to treat each other, and how we are to worship our gods. Well, in this compendium, this encyclopedia, we also have this celebration of full-bodied, eroticized intimacy, heterosexual intimacy, as if those who were collecting these poems loved them, and generation after generation thought that this was important information for our people, for our young people to learn that love is real, that desire is a blessing, and that this full body capacity that men and women can have for each other is a great, great gift. So I think that's interesting indeed.